What's up, guys? Got Dave here, and I just wanted to talk about buying a used bike. And I've always heard, and you've probably heard as well, people will say make sure that it's like currently registered. When you buy a bike, make sure it is currently registered to the person that you're buying it from, and that the registration is current, like with the Department of Motor Vehicles. And that way all you're doing is just transferring the name on the title over to you, and then a couple weeks later, you know, like you mail that into the DMV, and then a couple weeks later you get your pink slip in the mail, and then you own that bike, and that's all it takes. And I never knew how important that was until I bought this Yamaha. All it came with when I bought it was a title. It had an Arizona title with the name of the guy that I bought it from, of course, but it wasn't registered, and it had never been registered under the name of the guy that I was buying it from. He just had a title for it, and the guy before him never registered it in his name, and then it didn't have a license plate either. So I had to get it inspected by the CHP and the DMV. First the DMV inspected it, and they're like, nah, it doesn't look like it's, you know, like it doesn't have this federal certification label on the frame that it's supposed to have. So they made me go to the CHP and get it checked by them, that's the California Highway Patrol. I had to actually go to their office and get an inspection from them, you know, from one of the police officers there. He actually came out into the parking lot where my bike was parked, and he looked it over, and he made sure that the VIN number and the engine number matched the title, and then he signed it off, and that was it. So now it's all good, and I've got a license plate. But I mean, after that, I had to go back to the DMV and turn in all that paperwork, and dude, in total, it took me 5 hours at the DMV and about 45 minutes at the CHP getting that inspection, and it cost me $611 because I had to pay the taxes because it was an out-of-state purchase, and I had to pay the back fees and the penalties and stuff for all the years that it hadn't been registered for. It's like they fined me and penalized me for not having it registered, because even if you're planning on not using a vehicle, you have to get it what's called a non-op, which you register it non-operative. So it's like it's still registered, but you only pay like $10 or $15 for the year instead of like $150 or whatever like it normally is, and it just allows you to avoid those fees. But the guy that I bought it from never did that, and so I had to pay all those fees. That is something that I always heard about buying a used bike. They say make sure that it's registered, like current registration, and it's got a license plate on it. And both of those things were missing when I bought this bike, and it was definitely a pain in the butt. I mean, it wasn't as much of a pain in the butt as getting this thing to run was, but it was definitely a pain in the butt because I had to go to the DMV, and then they sent me over to the CHP, and then from there I had to go back to the DMV and turn in all the paperwork, and dude, it was a pain in the butt, man. It seriously took me quite a while to get this bike all like done, like paperwork wise. I keep going for a 6th gear, man, and it doesn't have it. It's topped out. It's like 60 miles an hour. It's topped out. But that is definitely something that you want to make sure of when you buy like a used bike or a car or a boat or a trailer or anything like that, is make sure that it's registered and it's got a plate. Because what's up, man? Because if it doesn't, I'll tell you what, dude, it is a freaking hassle. Something that I would recommend, not just suggest to you, but definitely recommend, is make sure it's currently registered if you buy something, a vehicle. So let me know, you know, like what your experience has been. If you've had, you know, like a nightmare in the past, like you bought something that wasn't registered and it turned out to be like whatever, stolen or something, you're like, holy crap. Because that was one thing about this bike that was sketchy, because it's like it took me like almost a year to get this bike running, to to the point that I could write it and actually go to the CHP. And then when the guy ran my info, he comes back out and he's like, all right, he's all, it's not stolen. And I'm like, what the heck, you know? And I go, I thought the DMV checked that. And he goes, yeah, he goes, they kind of check it. He goes, but our system reaches a lot deeper. And he goes, it would tell me if it was stolen or not. And I go, dude, I go, so I could have like done all this work to this bike to get it running, and now it's like somebody else's. And he like starts laughing and he's like, yeah. He's like, that's actually, he's like, even, you know, like not running, he's all, you should have just brought it here like in the back of a pickup truck or on a trailer or something and gotten it checked out to begin with before you ever did anything to it. I got lucky, I guess, you know, that it wasn't stolen, because I would have freaking been out all that money and all that time, all that work. It would have been stupid. So anyway, let me know what you think, you know, let me know what's happened to you or whatever, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.